time has come to once again answer life's most savory question. Whose cuisine reigns supreme? This is Iron Chef America.
3, 2, 1, time's up.
A delectable Japanese tradition has taken root in American soil. We have been graced with the establishment of our very own kitchen stadium, where our nimble chairman has brought together the pungent flavors of East and West. It is here where the best of the best from around the world meet and face the ultimate gourmet challenge.
Welcome one and all to Kitchen Stadium, the chairman's little acre. You know, to some it's a laboratory, to others a church, to some a playhouse, to others a house of horrors. But for those of us that call it home, it's just a big, friendly old kitchen with a voracious appetite for folks in white jackets. Let's feed the beast, shall we?
So please allow me to introduce a veritable pantheon of culinary giants. Your very own Iron Chefs, America. Iron Chef Bobby Flay. Iron Chef Masaharu Morimoto. Iron Chef Mario Batali. And Iron Chef Kat Cora. In mere moments, one Iron Chef will be pitted against our challenger, who thirsts to discover our secret ingredient and enter the heat of battle here in Kitchen Stadium. Years ago, our challenger was an anthropology major at Emory University and headed for a career in medicine. Then, a job in a bookstore helped steer him into the kitchen. Today, he's the head chef at Restaurant Eugene in Atlanta, where his emphasis on Southern cooking produces mouth-watering dishes featuring local ingredients like English peas and Georgia peaches. He earned the right to compete here today by winning the Iron Chef America Atlanta Challenger competition, beating 3 other chefs in a grueling test of culinary skills. The chairman welcomes Chef Linton Hopkins.
Chef Hopkins, welcome.
Thank you very much.
You are a champion of the South, but are you ready for the international melting pot of Kitchen Stadium?
I'm ready.
Excellent. And now, who will you face today?
Well, I've eaten in his restaurant. I've eaten his food, and he is the best. I choose Iron Chef Morimoto.
Excellent choice. Now, let the battle begin!
Well, this ought to be interesting. Chef Hopkins did have to battle just to get here, but Iron Chef Morimoto has been through quite a few battles of his own. We'll have to see how experience under fire plays in today's battle.
But there is one more ingredient to this battle, our secret ingredient, the theme on which our chefs will offer their succulent variations. Today's secret ingredient is sable fish. So now, America, with an open heart and empty stomach, I say unto you in the words of my uncle,
A battle sablefish is on here in Kitchen Stadium. A lot of folks may think that they have not seen this fish, but that's because it's usually sold in restaurants as black cod, which is certainly on the rise popularity-wise here in America.
All right, there we go.
Both chefs are grabbing their supply. Everything is heads off today. There won't be anything looking back at us. You can see Morimoto already taking off very fine scales on the sablefish. Matter of fact, it's called sablefish because of its almost furry feeling exterior, which comes from those very, very small scales. Although it's called black cod, it is not a member of the cod family, an important distinction to make. From there, we can see sous chef Omai getting a quick start breaking down some shallots there. The fish are piled on the challenger's side as well. We can see his sous chef David breaking down some of that fish. They're going to be difficult to follow because this meat has a very uniform color, regardless of whether it's from the head or the tail or the collar. Looks like we have some kazu going into the food processor over on Chef Hopkins' side. The kazu is basically a paste that's left over from the manufacturing, the fermentation of sake. Got a big old chunk of Parmesan over on the Kodo's board on the Iron Chef side. You can see that typical pin dot design on the outside, which lets us know that that is the real thing. Looking over on the Challenger side, you can see Chef Hopkins' sous chefs, Dave and Bruce, both going to work. Got some shallots and garlic cut up, and it's gone into a saucepan. Fennel being taken apart on a mandolin on the back pantry station. Over on the Iron Chef side, we've got a curious-looking device back there that I understand is a bonito shaver. Apparently exists for one reason and one reason only, and that's to make flakes out of dried fish. Very quiet here in Kitchen Stadium, and I know that somewhere down on the floor lurks my foreign correspondent of food, Kevin Brosh. Hi, Kevin.
Things are going swimmingly here. It does feel like we're in sort of slow motion right now. Just to bring you up to speed on Iron Chef Morimoto's side of the kitchen, Omai is breaking down some garlic, asparagus, shallots. We also have shallots, onion, and garlic on the Challenger side of Kitchen Stadium. To that kuzu was added some peanut oil in the food processor, and we also have a pot of kombu, water, and Parmesan rind. That's on the Iron Chef side of Kitchen Stadium.
Thank you. I now see a beautiful piece of ham being cut up by Chef Hopkins. I don't recognize the markings on the outside of that ham. I'll have to do a little research to find out what that is.
Finchville.
The chef says Finchville.
Kentucky.
Kentucky, okay. So that's a country ham, cured ham, more similar to prosciutto rather than just a regular ham. We've got sushi rice on both sides of Kitchen Stadium. Curious. Certainly not something that would surprise us from Morimoto's side. We usually see sushi rice come into play either as a sushi ingredient or some other ingredient. But obviously Chef Hopkins bringing some Japanese cuisine to the party as well. We've got charcoal already going over on the Iron Chef side. That's Michotan charcoal, I believe is how you say it. He likes the clean flavor and also the very, very high heat that he gets off of that hardwood charcoal. Over on the Challenger side, it looks like they've got some applewood chips coming out of the bag, and they've got a smoker. So we've got natural wood products being used on both sides of the kitchen. They're using that cast iron smoking device. Back over on Bruce's board on the Challenger side, I see a big old pile of parsley, and I think that over there we've got some ham. My guess is he's rendering the fat from that.
The bonito.
The bonito shaver is in the works. We can see that big old piece of dried skipjack tuna is just being shoved right in there. And I'm sorry to laugh. It just amazes me that there's a device that does this. And now, on the Challenger side, he's got some pre-packaged bonito flakes going into that pot of simmering aromatics with the marin. You know, whether you use fresh or packaged, it's the same thing. It's shaved dried fish. And now, let's see, over on our Chef Morimoto side, we can see that's a drawer of fresh bonito flakes.
Iron Chef Morimoto continues to break down his sable fish into fillets, bones, and bellies.
I'm planning on using every part of that critter.
Yep.
As well he should. Chef Hopkins has some dried corn bubbling away on his stovetop. Supposedly one of Chef Hopkins' favorite ingredients is a particular type of dried corn that I believe comes from Pennsylvania. And we've got another piece of ham being sliced up in the large slicer over on the Challenger side. Iron Chef looking around, double-checking his counts, double-checking his shapes against his plans, make sure he's got what he needs laid out so that he can move on into the rest of the cooking process.
15 minutes have elapsed.
How you guys look on time?
Fantastic.
Good.
That parsley has made its way into the blender. My guess is he'll probably puree that with either oil or water. All right, looks like water. We've got a torch out now. I just want to jump over to the Iron Chef side. He's actually flaming some of those fish bones and had a little bit of flame up from his hand torch there. Let's take a look at that again. I think there's a fine line between torch and flamethrower, Chef. Just wanted to get a little bit of caramelization on the outside of that before that goes into water. Interesting. So that is going to be a very gelatinous cooking liquid, perhaps a base for a soup. That pot has the Parmesan rind and kombu. Things are swimming along here in Kitchen Stadium. The Challenger has his sable fish broken down. His ham fat is rendering on the stovetop, and his country ham is thinly sliced. And in his battle against Iron Chef Morimoto, he has broken out the kazu and has some sushi rice. The Iron Chef has his various shaped fish pieces ready. He has flamed and boiled some fish bones, shaved some bonito flakes, and he too has some sushi rice in the works. Well, kids, the battle is on here in Kitchen Stadium. The competition will continue to heat up when Iron Chef America returns. Hi kids, welcome back to Kitchen Stadium. This is Iron Chef America. The battle today, sable fish, between the challenger Chef Hopkins.
How's my smoked?
And Iron Chef Morimoto. So far, Chef Hopkins has added bonito flakes to his simmering aromatics. He has moved the blended kazu to a hotel pan and has made some parsley puree too. Iron Chef Morimoto has salted some of his sable fish fillets. He used the monster bonito flake shaver to, well, make bonito flakes. And some cucumber has been diced. They've cooked some buckwheat too. These two chefs have mighty fine culinary minds, to be sure, but not the only ones in the house. I speak, of course, of our judges. And to introduce them, we will go up to Kevin Brosh. Kevin.
Thanks, Elton. Fun Benoit, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening. Here are the judges. You know, it's always a delight to have our next judge in the ICA kitchen. She's a Tony Award-winning actress who loves to cook, and she can be seen this year on the big screen in The Nanny Diaries. It's Katie Huffman. Our second judge is an associate professor of history at Yale. He's written extensively about Japanese diplomacy, and he's developed quite a taste for Japanese cuisine while conducting his research. Please welcome Michael Offland. Our final judge has witnessed many a food fight here in Kitchen Stadium. She's a writer for the Food Arts Magazine of Japan, and she's also a food advisor for the Japanese government. Please welcome Akiko Katayama.
Thanks a lot, Kevin. Looking over at the Iron Chef side, Sous Chef Omai is cutting up some tomato, and we can see the Iron Chef himself smashing that fresh ginger.
Smoking chef right here? Yes, thank you.
Chef Hopkins now working with some garlic, and just down from him is Sous Chef is cutting up some fillets. Let's see, what else am I missing? Kevin.
We have some burdock root on the Iron Chef side of Kitchen Stadium, and the Iron Chef is working with a combination of scallions, shallots, garlic, ginger, and pieces of sable fish with the skin left on. That's on the cooktop right now.
Back in the Challenger's kitchen, Chef Hopkins is loading up the smoker with some sable fish pieces, and his sous chef Bruce is pounding out some of that sable fish under some wax paper. He did a very, very nice gentle pound on those, very careful not to tear through those small pieces of filet. Perhaps, I don't know, there could be a carpaccio in the works.
Elton, Iron Chef now using a torch to, well, I guess to torch some firm tofu on his...
He's torching tofu.
He is torching tofu.
Why, you reckon, Kevin?
I don't know. Now he's pouring some, I guess, maybe sake into a pan?
It looks like sake going into a non-stick saute pan. Mikoto has just made a mixture. It's got kosher salt, brown sugar, kinome, which is an herb, and some of that fish. He's curing that, essentially, very, very deep salt and sugar there. We're past the 40-minute mark here in Battle Sablefish. Time to go up and talk to our judges. I'm going to start with Akiko. Akiko, it's very nice to see you again in Kitchen Stadium.
Thank you.
What is the role of sablefish in Japanese cuisine? You know, it's a fish that we're just now really getting our grips on here in America, but that's not the case in Japan, right?
Very popular, of course. Normally cooked with sake leaves, miso, or even cooked like teriyaki, or baked with salt. And I think like 18% oil.
It has a very, very high oil content, yes.
It's oily.
Well, let's move to next door. Michael, how are you, sir?
Fine, thank you.
Your first time in Kitchen Stadium. How are you feeling?
It's great.
Are you taking it all in with clarity?
Well, I'm taking it all in. I don't know if it's clear or not.
Well, let's try you out. Analyze the situation for us.
I think what's interesting is this is a fish that I've eaten a lot in Japan. Is just a very ordinary home-style cooking, and so to see it used in so many different ways is really fascinating. It's one of my wife's favorite fishes, so I'm sure she's gonna love watching this.
Pretty amazing. Katie, it's nice to see you again.
Hi, Alton. How are you?
Have you brought an appetite today?
Oh my gosh, yes. I'm starving, and as soon as all these smells start, I start getting more and more hungry, so I'll be good and ready.
We've often talked about the fact that you're kind of a chow hound. We've never seen you turn down anything. You always clean your plate, and I think you take this gig mostly because you just want to
I get fed, yes, I do get fed. I am an actor, so anytime there's free food, we show up, you know?
Sure, especially if you're not the one bringing it to the table, right?
Exactly.
Which is the way that happens. Well, thanks. We'll check in with you guys a little bit later. I want to get back down onto the floor because a lot has happened in the last few moments. We've had some onions, cipollini onions have gone into the deep fryer over on the Challenger side. Most of the cod is out of the picture at the moment. We've got some molasses being dosed out by the chef into a saucepan. And Sous Chef David has cut up some porcini mushrooms over on that side. There we can see some of those hunks of mushroom being laid over what looks to be, no, that's butter actually. Butter going on to toast, not porcini mushrooms. Let's see, Chef Hopkins now breaking out a little bit of cheesecloth.
Just a little sachet.
He's making a sachet, I hear him say. I believe that's headed into that pot that also contains some onions, dried ham, some sliced fingerling potatoes, and I think a bit of cream. That looks like it could be a soup at this point.
So, Elton, on the Iron Chef side, that big machine with that was doing all the shaving of the bonito flakes, that has gone into a mixture of kombu and Parmesan rind and water.
Parmesan rind. You know, Morimoto doesn't waste anything. You can extract a lot of flavor from them. Looking down into that shaved bonito, we also saw the Iron Chef's team just strain out that kombu broth, went over kind of a big straining cloth.
Elton, on the Challenger side, they've taken some of that thinly sliced country ham and wrapped it around fillets of sablefish. And David was working with a lot of butter. I've been told he's going to make a confit.
You know, Kevin, I'm not too sure that that is butter. I think that might actually be duck fat. David, what is that?
Duck fat.
There you go, duck fat.
Confit. Confit, thank you.
And it looks like he's going to melt that on the stovetop. Speaking of butter, the Iron Chef cutting up chunks of it right now. And if our camera 10 tilts down from where it is, we'll come across that charcoal, which has got a nice layer of ash on it. That's as hot as it is going to get. The Iron Chef dosing some soy sauce onto that simmering sake sablefish. And I can't say that 10 times fast. We've got some buttered bread slices also down on the grill, some bruschetta kind of happening, and some cooking broth going into more of those cipollini onions. You can see Iron Chef Morimoto kneading flour and butter together in a large bowl. Some kind of pastry work going down there perhaps. A little too early to tell. I can never tell with Morimoto, I have to admit it. He's a man of mystery to me. Chef Hopkins, burning bread on the grill. Just kidding, you're not burning. I'm just messing with you, man. Okay, we are halfway through this battle. Let's check out the fish story. The challenger, we know, has pounded some fish fillets for a carpaccio. He's smoking some fish. He has wrapped ham around some of the fish, and there is rumored to be a confit working as well. The Iron Chef is simmering fish bones. He has fillets with the skin on, cooking in a sake mixture, and his coals are heating up for possibly cooking some fish down the line. It'll all start coming together when Iron Chef America returns. Where have you been? You have missed a lot. This is Iron Chef America Battle Sablefish, raging on between the challenger, Chef Hopkins, and Iron Chef Morimoto. So far, in this battle, Chef Hopkins has some grilled bread, toast, toasted corn, and a pot of molasses to somehow pair with this fish. The Iron Chef has kombu and Parmesan, charred tofu, and charcoal to pair with his fish. Sounds good so far. Let's get back to the battle. Challenger bringing over some greens, looks like some fennel top, perhaps.
Dill.
Some dill coming out, very typically a fish-friendly kind of herb. We can see Morimoto breading those pieces of fish, an egg breading with also flour, and then the panko on the outside. That butter flour mixture that Morimoto made a few minutes ago, he's added to that some Parmesan, that rind broth you were talking about, Kevin, that Iron Chef Morimoto was making, has been added to that flour and butter mixture. He's now building kind of a sauce out of that. As usual, I'm not sure what the Iron Chef just said, but I think it was something like, my soup is better than his soup.
Oh, no, that's fighting words.
Over on the challenger side, sous chef Bruce, working with that carpaccio, is trimming it into some very fine-looking squares. Obviously, paying a lot of attention to the presentation points in today's battle. We've got some parchment paper that's been laid out under that saute pan. We can see those large chunks of sablefish underneath the parchment, kind of a steaming process. Also under that wax paper, there's that torch tofu and the burdock root, which is a popular Japanese root vegetable with a slightly sweet flavor. Challenger Hopkins is adding some cider vinegar to his molasses. He's been reducing that for a while. Maybe some sort of gastrique in the works. Things are about to get smoky in here, but that's okay. The Iron Chef moving that apple wood over to this little kind of homemade smoker. He's literally put the smoking wood in kind of a big envelope made out of heavy-duty aluminum foil, and then that is set down in ice. And he has the fish over that, so he's built a cold smoker. And I believe that was the fish that he cured earlier. Pretty ingenious. I haven't seen that done here at Kitchen Stadium. Now we're looking over on Omai's board, and we can see he's now cutting what appears to be leek, or perhaps Japanese green onion. And he's basically unpeeled it and stacking it up. Those breaded sablefish fillets are going into the fryer now. Oh, fried fish. I do wish I was a judge, and not just the host. Looking over at the overhead camera on the challenger side, Kevin, do you know what's going on with all that butter?
A large amount of butter on the challenger side is actually being used for a beurre blanc.
So that's being added to the dashi mirin mixture. Definitely a sauce. And that duck fat is melted, and sliced porcinis have gone in.
Fish is in the confit.
So it's a mushroom and fish confit. course, confit is a dish and also a process by which you very, very slowly poach an item completely immersed in fat.
We also have some sushi rice being sauteed on the Iron Chef side of Kitchen Stadium.
Looks like sous chef Makoto is adding some broth to that. Almost kind of risotto style. And there's a loaf of white bread out over there. I'm just amazed at how precise he is with that knife. And we can see those cutlets, the fryer baskets over on their chef's side.
Very hot.
On the challenger side, Chef Hopkins checking on the fish in the smoker.
Wow, look at that.
You can see they're fully cooked, got a nice smoke penetration there. Very fine flakes starting to peel away from each other.
Golly, that is wonderful.
We've got some greens cooking down, some other greens, definitely an Atlanta boy here, except that's watercress and not collard greens. I'd say it looks more like Morimoto is spraying some fish sticks with vegetable spray. He's putting it on the wire rack that's on the homemade grill. The hot coals are in that hotel pan. So he's made a grill and a smoker today in order to cook his fish. He's Iron Chef Masaharu MacGyver.
All right, watch this toasted sesame seeds.
Looking it over at the challenger side now. Looks like some white sesame seeds down, browning in a pan.
15 minutes to go.
They are pan frying now those ham-wrapped chunks, tranches of fish. We can see that happening right next to the remains of the smoker. They're still building that cipollini sauce, which is getting very thick and very fragrant. As a matter of fact, it's the strongest aroma here in Kitchen Stadium right now. Now I'm looking down also at some beautiful pan-fried chunks of sable fish, beautiful browning. Some creme fraiche has been opened up by the challenging chef. Of course, a lot of Americans are familiar with sour cream, but not so with the more refined and slightly fermented version that's been popular in France for so many years. Some toasted sesame seeds have gone in to that sushi rice over on the challenger side. And I think there's some cream in a mixer over on Iron Chef Morimoto's side. Can you push back in? Yeah, it looks like he's adding some citrus to that of some type. So that'll be a refreshing cream. Wonder what he'll pair that with. Will it be the fried fish fillets, the smoked fish, the grilled fish, or the simmered fish? We'll see soon enough.
Very nice, very nice.
Also, we have to see what happens to the challenger's marinated fish, his ham-wrapped fish, his smoked fish, and his raw fish. All of this fish is going to start hitting the plates very soon, as it is almost time for plating.
Start speeding it up, guys, right?
We'll see it all when Iron Chef America returns. Hi kids, we're back in Kitchen Stadium. This is Iron Chef America Battle Sablefish raging on between the challenger Chef Hopkins from Atlanta, my hometown, and Iron Chef Morimoto from Japan, not my hometown. Let's see what we've got. The secret ingredient is sablefish, also known as butterfish, and it can be oily. Despite that, the challenger is making a fish confit with duck fat and a beurre blanc sauce with about, I don't know, a pound of butter. Iron Chef Morimoto has deep fried some fish for what I believe is a sandwich and is making a cheesy fish soup. So much for oily. Let's get back to the action. Okay, looking over at the Iron Chef side of the Kitchen Stadium, oh my, the back station is adding a vinaigrette to the cucumbers and tomatoes, so I guess there is a salad in the works there. And we can see sous chef Makoto giving that white bread a flip, is using a salamander as kind of a fancy toaster. And Iron Chef Morimoto has some of his fillets on that homemade grill. That fish is topped with a Japanese 7 spice. It has 7 different kinds of chilies in it. The challenger is already plating. He's got his toast down on a plate.
Look at how that flakes. It's gorgeous.
There we have a plate down. I am going to call that a chowder for lack of a better word for it.
It's a chowder.
And you can see that the challenging chef, he took that smoked sablefish, which cooked, and it flaked out. It spread apart while it smoked, and then he basically just peeled those layers away and laid them down in that kind of chip form. We see Iron Chef is indeed building sandwiches. He's making filet of fish sandwiches. He's using that sauce, which is a combination of eggs and oil, so basically they've made a mayo for their sandwiches. He's gotten rather playful here in Kitchen Stadium. Akiko, what do you think of the fact that Morimoto's making a filet of fish sandwich?
I think, well, this is hidden secret of Japanese food, but I think that sandwich could be a part of Japanese culture. If you go to like station stores, you can see this kind of sandwiches.
Really? So this is Japanese pop cuisine.
Exactly.
I really like seeing that from him. Now we can see Makoto is working on what looks like a risotto, only it's now sitting over ice, chilling down. That sushi rice over on the challenger side, seeing it cut into a canal shape with those 2 spoons, that traditional football shape that's so often used in French cuisine. Not something I've seen done with sushi rice.
Chef? Right here? Yeah, so we build 2 little piles, basically. What's the time?
Across 6.5 minutes left in this battle. Over on the Iron Chef side, one of the things I'm most curious about, we've got a Japanese form of cauliflower. Of course, that is very closely related to broccoli. And we can see that it's got a little green on it. It is in a small pan with some baby carrots. We've also got some mushrooms being very, very finely chopped up.
How's that reduced chicken stock and the gremolata?
I'm finishing it off.
Got a sauce being mounted with a little butter, thickened at the last moment.
Yeah. I need to bring it down more. Okay. Get into a skillet on high fire and just bring it down to like a little glaze.
And right now, Morimoto is plating that sable fish that he cooked in the sake, ginger, and tofu and burdock. You can see it there next to that torched tofu with the burdock on top. Now, on the challenger side, that cooked watercress is down, and now that kazu marinated fish is down as well.
5 minutes to go.
5 minutes to go. Looking to Chef Hopkins. He's working on another plating. I think that's the gastrique he has there. Looks like a syrup.
It is. It's rendered ham fat with the gastrique in it.
That's yummy.
That's serious ammunition. He had me at rendered ham fat. So that is down with the creamed corn that has simmered through most of the battle, and that is the ham-wrapped fish, which now looks like it's getting a dollop of that parsley puree. Very nice. The Iron Chef working on his grilled fish. That has the 7 chili spice on it. The sauteed veggies going down with that.
Alton, there's a whipped cream next to that with lemon juice and sugar.
Our chef calling for an ingredient. Looks like those chopped mushrooms are going down on his soup. That was the soup with the plain fish bones, Parmesan rind, and the kombu. Let's see, right now, Chef Hopkins is plating those confit mushrooms and those cipollini onions that have been cooking forever. Those cooked in chicken broth and are very, very strong. 3 minutes, we're under the 3-minute mark here in Kitchen Stadium, and this is going to be a battle that, I thought that Chef Hopkins was just going to coast, but he's actually taking his time. Very, very kind of slow approach to plating, not being too fussy with it, which is nice. You can see that carpaccio has a fennel salad, looks like some caviar, and those finger croutons to go along with it. Our Chef Morimoto looking around, seems to have all of the pieces of his very intricate puzzle in place. His risotto, giving that a taste, seeing if he likes the texture of that. Can't tell, I can never tell looking at him how he's feeling about things. Dosing that out into a very large, beautiful bowl. I think it's rice and buckwheat mixed together in that risotto. That's going to bring an interesting nuttiness to that piece of fish. And that fish was poached in fish broth.
Okay, finish the reduction on that sauce.
See Chef Hopkins doing a little grating of zest into an herb mixture, almost like a little gremolata action happening over there. It looks like that gremolata is going into that pan. I'm anxious to see where that ends up. The risotto mixture, I understand some of that poaching liquid has been poured over that, and Morimoto has shaped that white truffle on top of that as a final dish.
1 minute to go.
There's the fish fillet sandwich, not something one sees from a drive-thru, and that's being served with a nice little salad. On top of that salad, there's the cold smoked fish, so he is showcasing the fish in 2 ways on that plate. All 5 plates are down now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Over on the Iron Chef's side, we've got the grilled sable fish. We've got the simmered skin-on fish with the tofu and burdock. He's got his Parmesan soup. He's got the risotto with the poached fish and his filet-o-fish sandwich. 30 seconds left to go in this battle.
30 seconds. Bruce, micro.
Over on the challenger side, it looks like that gremolata sauce is done, and that's going down with the sablefish confit with the mushrooms and cipollini onions. Very nice. We've got kind of the carpaccio action, the smoked fish with the chowder, the kazu marinated fish, and the ham-wrapped fish. We can see Morimoto doing one final count. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. A battle, sablefish is history here in Kitchen Stadium. A beautiful battle by the numbers, tight, focused teams. The judges are going to have a heck of a job before them today. Well, kids, the cooking may be done, but the drama's just getting started. Judgment when Iron Chef America returns. Hi, welcome back to Kitchen Stadium. This is Iron Chef America Battle Sable Fish. The cooking is done. The chefs are kind of chilling. The judges are getting ready to step up to their tasty duty. Of course, judging means rules. Rules, scoring, all of that business. To explain, we go up to Kevin Brosh.
Thanks, Alton. Okay, so here is how the judging works. Each judge can award a chef up to 20 points, with 10 points possible for taste, 5 additional points offered for plating design, which means how they've laid out their food for presentation. And finally, as many as 5 points for the originality in the use of our secret theme ingredients. And may the best chef prevail.
Kevin, you're so good at that. So let's go up to the chairman and get the feasting underway.
Chef Hopkins, you were so focused out there in Kitchen Stadium. Very impressive.
Oh, well, thank you very much. I had a great time.
Excellent. Would you please tell us what your inspiration was for today's secret ingredient?
Well, I love sablefish and how versatile they are. So we wanted to show multiple preparations from raw to smoked to confit to different styles. And that's what this is about. So,
shall we begin?
Let's begin. All right, we're going for the raw. We have a carpaccio of the sablefish, a little lemon zest, fleur de sel. We have a garnish of a fennel parsley salad with creme fraiche underneath, dill and caviar and olive oil, and a little toasted black bread. Well, you know, sable is an Alaskan fish, and so these have a lot of those flavors that are associated, but that's what I was thinking of, at least, for this. So, enjoy.
It's interesting, carpaccio is to die for. I mean, it's just so creamy and lovely, fresh, fresh, fresh. And it's really good, and then the bread is buttery, and I like butter.
Okay, good, me too.
I found the fennel parsley a touch too salty in the beginning, but it might have just been the first bite, but after that, it smoothed out.
I think I really enjoyed the firm texture of the sablefish and also some, crunchy sturgeon. That was beautiful.
Oh, well, thank you.
Chef.
Well, here we have a smoked sablefish chowder. Smoking sablefish is a very traditional method of preserving this fish, and it's great mixed with the cream and the potatoes. There's a little country ham in there, so please enjoy.
It's nice, the smokiness of the fish even has gone into the broth. I like that.
I think the corn gives some sweetness, and the texture of the fish is just perfect.
Oh, well, thank you.
Chef.
Well, this is a dish influenced by Japan. They have such an appreciation of seafood. This is marinated in kazu, which is the lees left over after making sake, a little sushi rice, the short grain, seasoned with a little rice wine vinegar, some watercress, and then a reduction with mirin, a little dashi, kombu, and, of course, my favorite ingredient, butter, to round it out. So please enjoy.
I'm a little critical because the sushi rice is great, well, very beautifully cooked, but the acidity doesn't go well with yuzu butter. And fish really is flaky nice, but it's really oily.
I can't agree with that. I just find it all interesting.
It's there, but it's I find it refreshing. So the rice isn't as heavy to me. But then what do I know?
Chef.
Well, this has a number of ingredients that are dear to my heart. We have country ham from Kentucky, sitting on Cope's corn, and we made a small little gastrique with molasses, cider vinegar, and then we took some of the ham fat, rendered that down, and incorporated the gastrique into that for the sauce.
It's really good, but I found the ham a little overpowering for the fish. I do, and I wish there was maybe a little more of the herbal taste in it. It's delicious, but I wanted to taste more of the sablefish in it. And it's for me, it's gotten lost a little bit.
Oh, okay.
The first bite, it's very salty, and then there's like a gradual taste experience. It lingers, and then by the time you get to the corn, this is very unique texture, which is giving more dimension to the fluffy texture of the fish.
Well, good.
Next course, please.
All right, thank you. Well, this is one of my favorite methods for pretty much anything, and that's confit, and this is done in duck fat. The porcini mushrooms are also infused into the duck fat and cook with the fish. We have some roasted cipollini onions, and then we stir in a little gremolata into the jus and just lay that on the plate to combine them all.
Well, it looks very pretty. I like how the really big plate is like a nice frame.
Thanks.
I was just thinking how perfectly I thought this fish was prepared.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you. You gave it a very nice texture. It's firmer. So it seems like almost different fish, and it's really tasty. And this kind of surf and turf duck and fish really worked.
Thank you.
I think Akiko's right. The fish seems like a completely different fish this time, which is very impressive. But again, I just don't get the flavors as much. Too subtle for me, I think. I need to be hit in the face with it.
Well, great. Thank you.
Hopkins, thank you for a wonderful meal.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Iron Chef Morimoto.
Thank you very much.
Always an honor to have you here. Please tell us what your strategy was for today's battle.
So I use the Well, I cook with sablefish very often, so today I have the challenge of coming up with new things, and this can be very difficult.
Shall we begin?
So this is the Parmesan soup.
So this is Parmesan soup. I made the soup with the bone of the sablefish and the meat. There's also cheese in it, and it's topped with scallion and just a squeeze of yuzu.
Scallion top.
Okay.
It's an excellent soup and very cheesy, but it seems like a Parmesan dish rather than a sablefish dish. The part in the middle is perfect. The texture of it is lovely and light. But it's more of a Parmesan dish for me than a fish dish.
Yeah, I actually kind of, feeling the fish stock because it's deeper than just simply Parmigiano.
Okay.
Iron Chef.
Okay, this is
I hope this looks familiar to you guys. This is a fried fish sandwich with tartar sauce and cabbage inside. On the other side is a cold smoked sablefish with avocado, cucumber, and tomato salad. Now the fish is not raw, but I didn't want to overcook it. It is cured and smoked. Enjoy.
The salad is very refreshing. After the soup, which was a touch heavy, the salad's very, very nice. The sandwich, I didn't think I'd like it. It looked a little too fried, but it's light, and the bread is just nicely toasted.
I think the oiliness of the fish is absorbed by a sandwich, which I think this case shouldn't be toasted to be more absorbent. And then this salad is, sort of like upgrading the whole concept of the dish.
Iron Chef.
Okay, so I cook.
Okay, this is sablefish confit. It is served with buckwheat and sushi rice, cooked in fish stock made from the sablefish bones and meat, and I shaved a little white truffle on top.
The buckwheat brings out a nice taste, sort of nutty taste we haven't had today.
I love how light this is.
So very soft.
Oh, soft, light. You taste each ingredient and fresh. Really lovely.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Iron Chef.
This is grilled sablefish. I cooked it over charcoal to give it that smoky flavor. It's topped with lots of spices: cumin, cayenne, chili, coriander, and garlic. And if it's too spicy, there's some creme fraiche with lemon and sugar in it. Enjoy.
This is a wonderful surprise.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh my goodness. The spiciness of this fish. And I'm thinking, how is creme fraiche going to... But you bring that in, and the combination of sweet and spicy, and the fish is so nice and light. All those ingredients that you put on it do not overpower at all.
I think some sort of spiciness comes down to your throat and just lingers. And I think that's important because fish is so oily, and then this lingering heat just covers everything, and it's a great integration.
Okay.
Iron Chef.
Okay, this is the washoku, as you say. This is Japanese food.
This is a very traditional Japanese preparation. I cook the fish very carefully in sake, sugar, and soy sauce. It has scallion and ginger, and it's topped with tofu and burdock.
This is really wonderful.
Thank you.
Thank you.
This is the best way to taste the skin of the fish, which is actually very popular in Japan. And
oh, we can eat it?
Oh yeah, that's the best part.
Oh.
And I mean, the tofu is very creamy and fluffy, and I think the burdock root is very salty, but then just balances out with tofu. It's wonderful.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
How's the skin?
Very good.
Iron Chef Morimoto.
Thank you very much.
Wonderful as always.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next up on our bill of fare, the verdict when Iron Chef America returns. Hi, food fans. Welcome back to Kitchen Stadium. Battle Sablefish has been fought here today. Fighting is done, judging is done, and the verdict has been rendered like a big old piece of back fat. Remember, there are 20 possible points here. 10 points can be given for the flavor of the dishes, 5 for plating, and a final 5 for originality. Now let's go up to the chairman and find out whose cuisine reigns supreme today.
Today, two champions met in Battle Sablefish here in Kitchen Stadium. Iron Chef Morimoto. Chef Hopkins. The judges have spoken, and the winner is Iron Chef Morimoto.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Well, both chefs fought a good fight. It was a tight battle to be sure, but it seems that the judges were smitten with the flavors of the Iron Chef's cuisine, and that secured him yet another win. 2 chefs enter, 1 chef leaves. Happy. Today, that chef is Iron Chef Morimoto, who used skill, experience, and imagination to fend off a powerful attack launched by first-time challenger Linton Hopkins, a chef that I feel certain we shall see again here in the house the chairman built. I'm Alton Brown on behalf of Kevin Brosh, the chairman, and the entire staff here at Kitchen Stadium. I bid you good eating.